And we are live
Oh, yeah.
back with another edition of your Wildest Fantasy Football Show. Week 3?
Yeah, third
I
week.
think that sounds right. We made it through all of our divisional episodes, and now it's time to get into the rankings. Today's show is all about running backs, running back rankings, where we have guys as a group, as a team. Obviously, one of our team members is missing today.
MIA.
Uh, Yeah, if you've seen him, heard from him, we called the milk people to put his name on the side of the milk carton. But if you see our friend Kenny, let him know
Yeah.
that he is loved and
hmm
missed. And well, he's at least missed.
At least
And
missed. Definitely missed.
and yeah, I think the plan, if he's ever found, is to get him back for next week.
Right.
But this week, we will be talking running backs today. We will be talking quarterbacks on Thursday. And then next week is wide receivers and then tight ends. I don't think we know when we're going to do kickers and defenses, if that's going to
Nope.
be next week or the week after. We'll figure it out as we go. But the main priority today is running backs. It's the most important position in fantasy football.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the most volatile positions when it comes to drafting your fantasy team.
Well, we talked about it, and I don't think it's a far stretch in saying that it's probably my favorite take you've had on this show. When you said how many running backs last year drafted in the first round got hurt
hmm
compared to how many wide receivers in the first round last year got hurt. Now, you didn't give the actual numbers,
Right.
but you did say it was way more running backs than wide receivers. I actually looked up the numbers, and 9 running backs based on like average draft position were
Mhm.
taken in the first round last year.
Right.
6 of those 9 guys missed
Nice.
multiple games.
I mean, the numbers don't lie. I mean, I said it
And
once,
that
I
doesn't
said it
include
again.
like
Yeah.
Zeke. I'm pretty sure there was another running back in there that just missed one game as well. In comparison to wide receiver,
Austin Eckler missed one, I think, but I
I
don't
think
think he
Austin
was
Eckler
listed.
played the whole season. I looked at that recently, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. He might have.
Um, but there was somebody like it might have been Aaron Jones or something like that
hmm
that missed one. Najee, maybe. I think it was Najee now.
hmm
But in comparison, wide receivers, the top 9 wide receivers, only 2 of them missed multiple games.
Exactly.
So people think of running backs early, but wide receivers, especially now with some really good wide receiver options and a lot of people trending towards PPR, half PPR formats, wide receivers are something to look at. But
hmm
that's not what this show is about. This show is
No.
all about the running
Running
backs.
backs.
And let's get right into it with our
hmm
RB1s. Um, I don't know how to show this best, if there's a way to show this best. So we're just going to run down the list of them.
hmm
This is as a crew, me, Toady, Kinney's rankings all meshed together. At number 1, we got CMC. Number 2, Jonathan Taylor. 3, Derrick Henry. 4, Austin Eckler. 5, Dalvin Cook. 6, Joe Mixon. 7, Najee Harris. 8, DeAndre Swift. 9, Leonard Fournette. 10, Alvin Kamara. 11, Nick Chubb. And 12, Aaron Jones. So I feel like that's not anything crazy. The only guy that is not going as an ADP of a top 12 guy via
hmm
ESPN is Nick Chubb, who is going at 13. So that's
Right.
the only thing that we're really off of things here.
Right.
Um, and then maybe if you want to say with our number 1 guy, now there was some debate on number 1. You were the person who put JT at 1. Me and
I
Kenny
did.
both had CMC
You guys
up
did.
there.
hmm
I think that I don't think we have to have too much of an argument on it because
I
I
think
think
it
it's
had, yeah, 35
pretty
minute debate, cut and dry. I mean, nothing big. You guys are just wrong, and it's fine. I mean, it happens that way. People make mistakes. I forgive you and Kenny for being wrong.
what is it then that's so big about JT? I know he was the number one running back last year,
Right.
only had 100 less points than CMC had when he was the number one running back in 2019. But
Right.
what is it that's so great about JT?
So I don't know if it's so much what's great about JT or what like the risk is with CMC. With CMC, you if he's healthy, you get the number one running back in the league. The only problem here is we haven't had a healthy CMC since 2019. It's fool me once, shame on me. You go into 2020, the 2021 season, or you draft in 2020, fool me once, shame on me. He gets hurt, he busts for you. It is what it is. Fool me twice, you draft him in 2021, number one overall, and he bust for you. So I think it's just third time is either the charm, and I'm going to be the fool, and CMC is going to have just a CMC type year, or I'm just identifying the pattern before you guys, and the injury risk is there. I mean, no one is labeled an injury risk or injury concern, kind of guy until there is an injury risk or concern on that guy. CMC for me is someone who the talent's there. The out of world talent that he has is unreal. I just get nervous with the injury concerns. Like it's just.
I mean, you can't be getting too nervous about it. You do have him as number 2.
Right, but I'm saying between JT and CMC, there's between those two guys, it's a lot, but I still like CMC's chances above most, if not every other player. Wide receiver, quarterback, tight end, defense, kicker. I'm a big quarterback in the first round kind of guy, so it's kind of tough for me on this one, but Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, first and second round one year, so.
I mean, they're the GOATs, but yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm not going to debate too heavily because I think if you leave the first round with one of these two guys, you're going to be happy. You're not going to lose your league unless it's injury with either of these two guys.
Right.
I don't think it's like, I think they are by far, I would say, the top, I would say definitely in the top 3 players. I would say that is for sure. And maybe, I think most people are viewing them as the top 2 guys. I don't know that.
Yeah.
I have JT as my number 2. Oh, he moved up recently on mine just because it's hard to really put him that low. But I think there are some risks with JT, not necessarily relating to injury, but a guy that has 20 touchdowns scares me from the standpoint of that number is definitely going to go down. And I get a little bit worried about that.
Right.
But not that worried. He's number 2.
Yeah. I think if you're getting a first round guy, I think there's risk and reward for every single player. You just kind of have to determine for yourself who you want to risk it on.
Well, that's going to be my kind of leads into our questions here. Who do you think? Maybe you don't want to risk it for the biscuit.
Maybe not.
Maybe you're not a biscuit guy in general. I don't know why you wouldn't be. I think that's a little messed up. I am also down with biscuits. But if there's one player that you think is the biggest risk in our top 12 here, who do you think it is?
I
feel like it's a pretty easy answer on my side.
I'll let you go first because I have one, but I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I think it's by far the most obvious of the answers, and it's our number 10 running back is Alvin Kamara. He's going RB8 in ESPN drafts. I just think that's way too risky. We know that Alvin Kamara, the player, probably be our 5 or 6 guy if there were no concerns of him missing time.
Mhm.
But
Well, let me put those concerns for you at ease, because Adam Scheffner, the GOAT at reporting everything, says it's highly unlikely that a punishment will be handed down this year for Alvin Kamara.
I mean, he also I'm not going to say that. I was going to say that he also predicted Brady would retire, which Brady did retire.
He did retire.
But then he also unretired, which Schefter did not report.
Right. I had tacos
I
for dinner. Scheffner did not report that either, so I think sometimes his fingers just might get tired.
sometimes his hands off or fingers off the pulse, and I think that might be what's going on. I just don't get it. I know that he has a hearing in September,
Mhm.
and I feel like that's still plenty early enough for there to be a chance. I don't care that it's unlikely, as long as there's a non-0% chance that Alvin Kamara misses time. And
Mhm.
now I think it's even scarier because it's not he's missing the first 6 weeks of the season. It's
Right.
you could have him all year and then, fantasy playoffs, no Alvin Kamara. I think
Right.
that's even worse, is not knowing whether he's going to be there for you when it counts. And that is a super scary thing for me that I would not want in my top 10 running backs, apparently, or maybe even 11 running backs. 12.
You have him
12 is
ranked
a different
12th, yeah.
story. Yeah.
So I think for me, the reason it's not Alvin Kamara for me is because you can get him second round. I mean, he's going
I don't want him there.
Well, right, but he's going consensus 8th running back. We know that more than likely in most leagues, there's going to be 3, maybe 4 wide receivers taken in the first round. That alone is going to push him to the 12th, 13th, 14th pick in your draft. So he's going to be either back end first or early second. And I think at that point, he's worth it because you're going to get good weeks out of Alvin Kamara when he's on the field. And my guy,
For sure.
who I'm going to say is Aaron Jones, which I don't think Aaron Jones is going to be a top 12 guy at the end of the year. Aaron Jones will not give you, he might finish the year as running back 15, maybe, all things looking like perfect. I think that's his ceiling. But he'll lose you weeks. He will get you 8 points. And if you go Aaron Jones, which is consensus 12th, same round as you're going to get Alvin Kamara, I just don't feel as comfortable with that. I know Alvin Kamara will perform when he's on the field. Alvin Kamara will get me points. And if you ever get nervous with Alvin Kamara, you can always trade him for a very valuable piece. Not JT, not CMC, probably not JJ, but you can get high upside.
You could probably get anybody. I mean, if we know that he's going to play, or you have somebody who's completely 100% in on him playing the entire year, you could probably get anybody, I would say, after. Like, I think might be able to pull off a DeAndre Swift, a Lenny, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, and
Right. I think
definitely
you can
some
get
of the other guys we'll talk about later.
Yeah, you can get any of those guys, I think, from Alvin Kamara, and you're going to get Alvin Kamara production, which will win you weeks before that. Whereas Aaron Jones, it's his first year. It's going to be a full year without DeAndre or Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers did call Alan Lazard a Hall of Famer. So maybe I'm a little bit low on him, but someone did also do a lot of DMT and psychedelic drugs. So I'm not entirely sure.
Are we saying that's a bad thing?
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that we don't know if he was under the influence of said drugs when he made those statements. We do not know. Yeah. So we don't know if it was like tongue in cheek or tongue and, some real femurs in here. We don't really know. But yeah, for me, it's Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I was the highest on Aaron Jones, not like crazy. I think I had him at 11. You had him at 12. Kenny had him at 13. We were all kind of in the same spot.
Yeah.
We looked at the numbers. I think it was when we were talking about the Packers, Aaron Jones' productivity with Devontae Adams off the field, him kind of being the number one option there. I like his pass game usage opportunity here. And if you can get him in the second round, which is where he's going now, I think he is a perfect second round target. Who is the best value for you in this top RB1 conversation?
Best value has to be Najee Harris.
Interesting.
Uh,
He's currently going as running back 5.
and I think he could be I think he could be running back 3 or better at the end of the year. Without injuries, with everyone playing the full season, I could see him being running back 3, and it's not a far stretch for me. Quick insight into the Steelers: they're really good at drafting wide receivers. Really good at that. So I think they have some nice young talent around it. I think it's going to be an improved year. They have a better quarterback than, ancient Big Ben back there. I think it's better. I just see him being such a force, and I also know that he's going to be involved in the pass game quite a bit, and that's just going to boost his numbers up wicked.
Does the offense around him concern you at all? I think there's a couple guys that you could say this for. I don't necessarily think that it's like a major concern for me. I'm just asking, I suppose.
No, just because who does CMC have around him?
It's a
No,
fair point.
and he's did that for 2-3 years, kind of. So CMC has no one. CMC is not Najee Harris. Isn't CMC yet, but Najee Harris is the guy that I like to think has CMC. He could chase CMC.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys for me. There's one I'm a little less sure about, one that I'm probably higher on than the other, but one that I'm a little less sure about. Lenny, I'm obviously pretty high on. I had him as my running back 6. Definitely the highest of any of us. But I'm going to go Dalvin here. I have Dalvin as my running back 5. He's going as a running back 6. I get that that's not a big discrepancy, but when I look at a guy who could definitely finish the year as an RB1 and definitely has the talent to do that, I think Dalvin is that guy. And if you can grab him at RB6, that's incredible value. You see him sometimes going end of the first round, like 10th, 8th, late. I see the upside there. I see how the Rams running backs do. Whether you look at Todd Gurley, I think Dalvin Cook is probably as good, if not better than Todd Gurley was. You look at how good Darrell Henderson was last year when healthy. You look at just how those running backs in the Rams system performed. I think Dalvin is going to be a big part of this offense. He's still an amazing player. And to have that kind of upside from RB6 is something that I don't think comes along that often. For reference, last year, I think the RB5 was Zeke, which I loved Zeke as much as the next person last year, but I didn't think that he was RB1 potential. Like, I didn't think he was going to finish as the top guy. I thought he was going to finish up there, but I think you look at a guy who could dominate as a running back, Dalvin has a pretty good chance to do it. Anybody else you want to spotlight in this grouping?
I think playoff Lenny will be. I'm at 10, but you have him at 6. Kenny has him at 11. That's a guy that I think is just so around the board here. I mean, I know when you play with Tom Brady, like, you kind of don't know what's going on, besides the fact that you're just going to score an obscene amount of points and you're going to be up. And if Tom Brady trusts you, you're going to have a very viable fantasy season. So that's what kind of keeps him inside my top 10. It's just I don't trust it. I mean,
interesting.
I mean, if he falls to me at the end of the second, I'm going to take him,
Yeah.
but I don't feel very. I feel like I'm worried if I pick up playoff Lenny at the end of the second, 2-3 turn area, I'm going to feel like, okay, I have a potential for an RB1, but I also have a potential for the 24th running back in the league. And I picked him up in the second round. That's why for me, it's nervous.
I look at it as a guy. Now, this is the interesting thing for me. If I could get Lenny as an RB2, I feel like awesome about it. If I have him as an RB1, which is weird, I think he has a lot of upside. I think that there is a little wavering, more of like flexibility to where he could finish. But the most interesting thing to me is like he caught 69 passes last year.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's what I mean. Like, he has the trust of Tom Brady. So that's
Like,
why
how many did Austin Eckler catch? Austin Eckler had 70 catches. So you look at other running backs that are going to catch as many passes as Leonard Fournette.
Mhm.
Although that sounds crazy to say, there were not many of them. So you will get a guy who can catch that many passes and is on a good offense where I think it's reasonable to say that like he could be a touchdown leader at the end of the year. Like, he's definitely one of those guys. I think you kind of look at guys in offenses where they can score 20 touchdowns. Although you can't really count on that, but you look for the upside. That's kind of where it is in those touchdowns. And Leonard Fournette is in as good of a place to do it in Tampa Bay. So that's kind of one of the big things for me about him is that pass catching and that ability to, he just got paid. He's going to be the guy with Tom Brady in a good offense that's going to score a lot of points. Right. But I do get it. I get some of the concerns as well. RB2s. Let's go into these RB2s. We have at 13, Saquon Barkley, 14, Javonte Williams, 15, James Conner, 16, David Montgomery, 17, Cam Akers, 18, Zeke Elliott, 19, Josh Jacobs, 20, Breece Hall, 21, J.K. Dobbins, 22, Elijah Mitchell, 23, Miles Sanders, and 24, Antonio Gibson. Now, RB2 range, I think there's a little bit of a drop off when you get to like, I would say after like around that 16 number. But which of these guys in this RB2 range do you think have the best chance to leap into that top 5?
Javonte Williams.
Interesting. That's a really interesting one.
Javonte Williams is a dog, baby. I mean, give me Javonte Williams all day. If Melvin Gordon goes down for any little bit of time, he's already banged up preseason, banged up already. I mean, they haven't even really started hitting anyone yet. They're just playing with the pads out here. This is two-hand touch with your little sister. I mean, this is nothing. And Melvin Gordon's banged up already? Give me Javonte Williams. I mean, finished as running back 17 last year on a PPR format. Give me that guy. He has Russell Wilson leading the helm now, which is astronomically better than any quarterback that he played with last year. Russell Wilson knows how to command a team, knows how to call guys open, knows how to audible on the fly. He has the power to do it.
Hey, can you get open, please? This is Russell Wilson.
Exactly.
Thanks.
That's what he does. In the middle of the game, don't matter. Ball on the line, it don't matter. Give me Javonte Williams. That guy can get. Let's ride. That guy is going to finish. I firmly believe out of all these guys, he's going to be the one with the minimal amount of risk that could push himself in the top 12, top 5.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like I'd like to look down the board a little bit. I don't think we're going to talk about Melvin Gordon that much in this episode. He's in the top 36. And I like him as a later pick because I do think he's going to play a bit of a role in this offense, unfortunately, for Javonte. But I think Javonte, just talent-wise, like you said, is one of those guys that is going to be productive regardless of his situation, especially in an offense now where they are going to score more, you would hope, with Russell Wilson at the helm. I'm going to go the guy that we have right behind him at 15, James Conner. Kind of similar reasons as Leonard Fournette. He's just in a good offense that's going to score touchdowns. They have a ton of weapons on the outside. I think that eases things for him. He got a new contract.
He did.
And I think when running backs get that, especially in the first year, they get that investment in them. I think it's kind of like okay, we spent on you, we invested in you. Now we are going to give you the work, and we are going to basically make that contract worth it. So I think with James Conner, he's going to get a lot of work in this offense. His competition is, I think, Darrell Williams, who I don't see being used as much as Chase Edmonds. And he was a pretty big touchdown guy last year. I just don't know. I don't see it being as much of a regression risk as some of the guys earlier, some of the guys, especially at the top of the board, like a Jonathan Taylor or an Austin Eckler, those 20 touchdown guys. I think he had somewhere like 15.
He had 15 touchdowns last year. Yep.
But I think he could get somewhere close to that this year as well, and be a really big part of that team, especially when DeAndre Hopkins is out as well.
Yeah. So Kondo, I do have a question for you.
Okay.
It might be a triple parter, just so it's nice and comprehensive.
Let me get a pen.
What weeks are the fantasy playoffs more times than not?
14 through 17? Okay. 15 through 17?
Do you know how many double-digit weeks in PPR format James Conner got in weeks 14, 15, 16, and 17 last year?
My guess, if you're bringing this up, is probably not many because you live to make me sad.
He got one. He got a 33.5-point week.
Well, okay. He didn't play 2 of those games.
Exactly. So this is my second part of the comment here. You just talked about how your biggest
he finished as a top 5 running back last year.
Right. Finished as top 5 with 6 weeks underneath 10 points. So he's kind of flaky. We can establish that. Alvin Kamara was your biggest risk.
6 weeks?
Weeks 15, 16, 17. He didn't get you any points.
Well, yeah. He didn't play those games. I'm saying if he
but those are
when
your
he
playoff
played
games. When he played, it was 4 games.
You're not going to. So you're saying that because he missed 2 games in the playoffs, he's going to miss 2 games in the playoffs this year.
What I'm trying to say is your biggest risk that you just said was Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, but we know Alvin Kamara is going to get suspended. We know he's going to get suspended. We don't know if it's going to be this year, but that's different than when you have something looming over you. It's not like James Conner is going to get injured at some point this year, like we know it, or is going to has something looming over him going into the season, or he has like a lingering hamstring injury that he's going into the season with. James Conner doesn't have any.
I think we do, because James Conner has missed time every single year. Going back all the way to 2018, he was missing time. Going back to 2017, he was missing time. Since 2017, he hasn't played a full season in his career. Since 2017, when he came into the league, he has not played a full year.
And he still finished as the running back 5.
Right. Last year was a complete fluke. I mean, we just talked about 6.
Well, I don't think that it's a fluke.
No, 6 out of 9 the top guys got injured. And the guy who missed 2 games got you less than 10 points 4 weeks after that. I mean, finished as RB5. What I'm saying is...
And he missed 2. Yeah, I think, like you said with Alvin Kamara, when he's on the field, he is going to, I don't know about dominate, but he's on an offense that I think is going to play very, very well and be one of the elite offenses in the NFL. And he's going to have a lot of opportunity to not only run the ball, but catch the ball, as he showed later in the season, particularly with Chase Edmonds kind of not having as big of a role there. He's going to get a ton of opportunities, probably as many as most of the people in this kind of second grouping. He's going to be able to score. So when he's on the field, he is going to put up numbers, I think, like he showed last year, as much as anybody.
I have a hard time trusting him.
I think the injury concern thing is fair, but I think you could also put that on a ton of people.
You can, but not since 2017.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like for like his entire career, he's missed games. It's not just like CMC just started missing games the past 2 seasons.
So well, CMC has been in the league for a shorter amount of time too, right?
Hold on.
That might not be true.
No, they came in at the same time. They both have 5 years experience. They both came in 2017. CMC played 3 like full years of dominating.
But you could use that with Dalvin.
Exactly. Like Dalvin's not inside, he's not inside top tier. Because Dalvin, he's going to miss a couple games. And Alexander
you could use that with like Eckler. You could use that with a lot of smaller guys too. And you can use that with, I just feel like that's an argument that you could use. And I guess like that's something that you have to consider if you're looking at James Conner.
Right.
But
he got hurt at the end of the year.
If you look at it from the perspective of if things go right for James Conner, which obviously things would have to go right for any of these guys to finish in the top 5, I think he has the potential and the position or surroundings that set him up for a top 5 season if things were to go right for him. If he was to get injured, obviously, and things were to go wrong, I just think he has more upside than you will get other guys who are in this list, like a David Montgomery. I don't think David Montgomery has, unfortunately, the surroundings to get there. I don't know that like a Breece Hall or a J.K. Dobbins or other people in that situation necessarily have the situation that gets them there.
My problem is I don't want to see someone draft James Conner thinking he will be there in the playoffs for you when you can go back all the way to 2017 and he missed time at the end of the year. It's not just like the beginning, he like rolled his ankle. Every single year since 2017, he has missed times between weeks 15 and end of the season. Or sorry, 14.
Every single year?
Go look it up.
I don't know. That's wild. If that's
since 2017, he got you points. I mean, I won't count 17. He was a rookie, but he didn't get you any points in week 17 or 15 on. From 14 on in 2018, he didn't get you any points except for the last game of the season, which doesn't count for you. 2019, he didn't get you any points again in week 14. He got you 15 and 15. And then in week 16, he got you 3 points, missing time. 2020, came in for Buffalo, got you 0.8 points, got hurt in week 15. So, I mean, I just don't want to see people draft him and expect him to be there at the end of the year. I think he has a proven track record of 5 years of getting injured at the end of the season. He gets banged up throughout the season. He's a power guy. He can finish his top 5, but when you need him in the playoffs, when your team actually matters, it doesn't matter what your record is. You can go 14-0 and get to week 15, but James Conner's going to go out there and roll his ankle, and then he won't get you any points. So, I mean, what good is the record if you don't get the championship? So, for me, I don't want to see people go down that route.
I see that argument. Yeah. Like I think that is a very interesting case, especially like every single year having that happen.
Every single year it happens to him.
I just don't, and I'm not saying that James Conner is going to finish as a top 5 running back. Mm-hmm. Again, it's the upside, and I don't see anybody else, maybe outside of Saquon in this group, that has the upside to do it, in my mind, as James Conner does if things were to go right for James Conner. And I will, everyone else, I agree. Like, don't take James Conner. Just let me do it. And then I won't have him at the end of the season, but I think I'll be pretty happy up until that point.
Yeah. to get you to the playoffs, I think James Conner is a great choice, and I'm with you. I just think that for the playoffs, when your team actually matters, he's not a guy that you want on. He is not a guy you want on your team at the end of the year. Said that to everyone. I have warned everyone
multiple times.
Yes, I don't want to see. You
have something against James Conner, which is
probably
not someone you'd want something against.
I said I'm a big James Conner believer. Till week
it does not sound like it. Yeah.
Until week 13, and then he gets injured. I mean, it's just how it is. Hopefully, he proves me wrong. I hope so. I really do. But
I don't think you do.
I do. I have no ill will.
I don't think you do, because then you would be telling everyone to not take James Conner, and then James Conner would go off, and I think that would really rile you up. I think that should disappoint you.
Nothing would make me
you should feel like you are letting down the fantasy community that we're here to help.
I mean, if James Conner goes through the first 3 weeks of the season again with a combined 25 points between all 3 weeks.
Well, he wasn't the starter the first 3 weeks. I think it's interesting that you're nitpicking the beginning of the season and end of the season. We haven't talked about the middle of the season where he completely dominated. But
that's not. No, I did say that. I did say that. I said until week 13, until the playoffs, James Conner is a fine option. I said that 5 times.
Fine is different than dominate, I think. But we have to move on.
Yeah.
Lowest ceiling. Kind of the opposite question here. I think I already said my choice here, but I actually don't know that I did.
My lowest ceiling? Do you want me to go first? Oh, yep. Zeke.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe everyone knows I'm an avid Tony Pollard believer. I am actually not a believer. I'm a truther for Tony Pollard and the God-given gifts that he has. It's not easy being the number one talent for the Dallas Cowboys, but Tony Pollard does it week in and week out. I mean, the guy's just a gift. Truly is my favorite player to watch. Maybe Dallas gets smarter. Maybe they don't. I'm not, it's neither here nor there. But everyone, fantasy community, GMs, people who want to see the Cowboys succeed want Tony Pollard to be in. And they want him.
That doesn't sound like the truth, because a lot of people they're coming out and saying that we need Zeke to be like our guy.
I think there's I think needing is mainly for the monetary value that they gave Zeke. I think that's why they need him to do it. Because if not, and you come out and publicly say Tony Pollard is the best back in our backfield, then it mitigates the $90 million that you're giving Zeke. Something fucking insane. I mean, I think you have to will it if you're, working for the Cowboys organization. You have to do it. It's like when you go to work every day. You don't tell the customer that your boss or, your manager, you don't tell your boss that your manager takes 5 smoke breaks every hour, is shotgunning beers in their car before their shift. You don't say that because you don't want to look bad. And I think that's what everyone's kind of doing. I don't know if
it would make you look bad. I think it would make them look bad, depending on what the job is.
I mean, it would make you look like you're not a team player.
If your boss is Stone Cold Steve Austin, I think you'd be fine.
Yeah, but I don't think Stone Cold, cares about fantasy football that much. So I don't think he's going to be my boss anytime soon. Wish he was. Love Stone Cold. Favorite WWE superstar of all time. But it would Stoner. Oh, right.
I mean, Zeke had a bad year last year, and he was not the best running back on the team. And where did he finish last year? It must have been somewhere terrible.
Running back 7.
What? he finished as the running back 7, a top
Mhm.
7 running back in a year that he was awful, and then he got hurt the whole year in a year that, from my guess, I don't think it can be, like, much worse than last year. Like, I
Okay.
think it'll be probably fairly similar. Now, I don't have him as my 7th ranked running back because there are a
Right.
lot of guys that are healthy that were not healthy
Oh,
last year.
oh, so
Um,
that would be something.
but I do have him a little bit higher than you have him. I have him as my running back 16. I'm I mean, I think that if you look at Zeke as like an RB2, like I think he is a kind of one of the definition of an RB2 guys that is just going to get volume and is going to be in a solid offense we are expecting going into the year. I think you'd be pretty happy with him in that spot. I would say that he's one of the more safer floor guys than a lower ceiling guy. I know that those could probably be pretty close together, but I just think that there's guys that are in worse offenses here that are going to be riskier. And I love David Montgomery, but I don't think anybody expects the Bears to be all that good this year. Um, we're going to talk more about Brees Hall later because I just don't understand the Brees Hall hype. My guy probably here is going to be David Montgomery, who I was very high on coming into the year. I think I had him as like my RB12, but there's some rumblings of getting Khalil Herbert more involved, and the offense is not any like thing too inspiring. I don't think Khalil Herbert's going to be like a massive problem there, but I just don't really trust the Bears' talent on offense, and then like the regime is seems like there's a lot of clashing with the players right now. You're seeing that a little bit with Roquan. You saw that with what's his name, the tackle that I can't think of
Me
anymore.
neither.
Uh, their right tackle that they're trying to trade that they drafted in the second round last year. There's been like issues or disputes with the front office already and the coaching staff. Like that's sketchy, and this just situation scares me.
Yeah.
So I'm probably veering a little bit away from David Montgomery, but he's still going to be a volume guy that's going to help you out a good amount. I think it's just the ceiling is what scares me being in that Bears offense.
Yeah, I don't
Let's
hate it.
go. Oh, do you have anything
Yeah.
else on that or just don't hate
I
it?
mean, I'm an average. I think I'm average for Dave Montgomery. I'm a little bit higher than consensus. Got him a 16, but
Yeah.
if
I think we
I
all are.
you're right at his consensus. You're at 18.
Mhm.
Kenny and me
Oh,
are at
I'm reading the wrong
16.
one.
Yeah, it's all good. Um, I just like him. I just trust him. I think the volume that he's going to get gives you a very safe RB2. He won't win you a
Agreed.
week. He won't win you a week. I will say that, but he won't lose you as many weeks as some of these other RB2s will.
Agreed. I think there are certainly some risky ones.
Mhm.
We'll talk about Brees Hall later.
Yes.
But first, let's get into our flex option running backs. Everyone from 25 to 36. 25 CEH, 26 Travis Etienne, 27 Cordero Patterson, 28 Devin Singletary, 29 AJ Dillon, 30 Rashad Penny, 31 Ken Walker, 32 Chase Edmonds, 33 Damian Harris, 34 James Robinson, 35 Melvin Gordon, and 36 Tony Pollard. So, who do we think is going to be the safest, consistent guy here that you put in your lineup as your flex? You're expecting like 12 points per game. Just going to be a guy that you can put in your lineup, not really worry about the ups and the downs, but it's just going to be a pretty solid running back week to week.
I got two. Um, Give me the RB9 from last year, Cordell Patterson. I am insanely high on him compared to you guys. I have him at
Yes, you are.
19. Kondo has him at 29, and Kinney has him at 35. So the truth is probably somewhere in the middle at, running back 5. So that's kind of where I'm going to have him. Give me that guy. Like I said last year, he didn't need that many touches, and he made things happen. He's not a guy who, if we look at like a Derrick Henry, who, like starting from like 3 or 4 years ago, his efficiency on every touch has just been getting exponentially worse year after year after year. And the reason that we still have him up there and, RB1 conversations is because of the value.
Tons of it.
I mean, insane amount of volume. On pace for 500 touches last year. Just unreal. So give me Cordell Patterson or Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard's a guy I'm always high on. I have him at 27. You have him at 39. Kenny has him at 37. Either of these guys, yeah.
You think that Tony Pollard is like a weekly play? Like you would not be concerned about putting him in your lineup for multiple weeks?
Yep. If Tony Pollard, if I went through my draft and Tony Pollard was my third running back, I would feel comfortable having as my third. I'd feel comfortable having him as my flex. You're getting him in what, the 7th, 8th round, probably something like that, I believe. I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head.
You're getting him at later than that. You're getting him at pick 103. But
that's even better because that solidifies my point.
Well, I'm more fine with that because that's a little bit closer to our rankings. I mean, it's a running back 31. He's still a little bit higher than I would go for him, but
so I can finish on my point here. If I have Tony Pollard as my third running back, that means I've got 3 great wide receivers, fantastic tight end, great quarterback, and then I could pick up, even if he's my second, pick up a late round running back like Cordell Patterson, Tony Pollard. I would love these guys. I mean, Tony Pollard is going to have a much better year this year than he did last year. Finished as running back 28, fringe RB2. That's not terrible. Cordell Patterson finishes RB9. I don't have to say that. I mean, enough said. The guy's an animal, absolute beast incarnate. Brock Lesnar, who? Cordell Patterson, what? I mean,
and my thing with Cordero, and like, I'm at 29, he's going to 26. If you take him at 26, then I'm not really going to complain about it.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is more that offense. How many touchdowns are you going to be able to score? I know some people are more worried about the end of the season, having some single-digit weeks. I don't really care about that. I think that he, like you said, very efficient with his touches, and they don't have a ton of weapons there. They got Drake London, they have Kyle Pitts, and they have Cordero Patterson, and I think that they are going to utilize those guys. I'm just scared of how many points they're going to be able to score, and that's more of what's weighing him down rather than him himself. But I don't have, like, if you take him where we have him ranked, you have him not like in those spots where he's your third running back. You have him in the spot where he's your like second guy, and you're taking him ahead of guys like a J.K. Dobbins, Elijah Mitchell, Josh Jacobs, Zeke. I think that's more where I would get in the territory of I'll wait on Cordero Patterson. But I agree for where he's going. You
can get Cordero Patterson extremely late, and that's why I'm also so high on him. Because like I said, you could go 3 wide receivers or 2 wide receivers and a tight end early with your first 3 picks. Solidify yourself a Mark Andrews, a Travis Kelce, a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Mike Evans, some of these big name guys. Your wide receiver and tight end position is now taken care of. 4th round rolls around, you're picking up, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Lamar, something really nice right there. You go into the 5th, pick up a running back, and then you can wait all the way to the 8th or 9th round and get Cordero Patterson. I mean,
yeah.
Your team is looking really nice, and I'm fine with
that.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. I just take when I see like RB19, I take it as a guy that's going to go where the RB19 is going, which is
I think that's the beauty of
currently in the top 50. So that's where my mind goes when I see the ranking. I think Cordell Patterson in your mind, you're taking him in the top 50. I might be wrong on that presumption, but
Yeah, I'm
uh
going. So I mixed in ADP with my rankings of where,
that's
well, of
that's
where people,
interesting.
well, where people are going affects how valuable they are. I mean,
I'm confused.
if Zeke is going in the first round, do you think that's a good deal or not? If you in your first round, are you picking up Zeke?
No, because he's my RB16.
Okay, but
But I don't
people,
think I don't think
people are high on
where
him, right?
anybody's going in drafts affects my rankings.
It kind of
I
does for
think
me just because it's if you can wait on a guy, if everyone else is going to wait on a guy, but you're high on him, like I am on Cordell Patterson. I know the leagues that I play in, and I know how very little people like Cordell Patterson. So I know I can rank him high. For me personally, for my ranks, he is ranked higher because I'm going to be able to get him in the 8th or 9th round. I'm going to have such an amazing team, and no one else is going to touch my guy, and then I get to pick him up for free. And I think
I
at the
think
end of
it can
yeah,
affect your strategy for sure, but
mm-hmm.
I don't think it can affect where you rank a guy, if that makes sense.
It affects where I rank people just because I think
I think that might have just ruined the ranking system. I think that our ranking system is now flawed
I don't
based
think
on
it's
that.
flawed. I
I
think
don't
it's just
understand. I just don't understand it. And
well.
I got
Let
to
me
be
try.
honest. I'm
Yeah,
not sure that I want to understand it.
let me try to break it down for you.
I think that you have your own ranking system, a Toady ranking system that
Mhm.
I'm not sure can be comprehended.
Let me give you a quick example. You
I
have
don't know how
playoff.
you can rank a guy behind a guy that you like.
Mhm.
Did I? I don't even know if I explained that right. Now
You
I'm
explained it.
confusing
You
myself
explained it
because
wrong.
you've confused me a lot.
Let me break this down for you real quick, Kondo.
Okay. Let me try
Playoff
to
Lenny. Playoff Lenny. You have him ranked as running back 6.
I would take him above
Hold on.
everyone below
So
him, for the record.
so you have him at running back 6. You're
Correct.
taking him over Najee Harris.
Yes.
So if you're drafting 1.06,
Mhm.
playoff Lenny's right there. That's who you're taking.
If I'm taking a running back, yes. And like I wouldn't take him out 106 because I would take Cooper Kupp. But if I had a choice between Leonard Fournette and Joe Mixon, Najee
Mhm.
Harris, and I had to choose one of those three guys, I'm taking Leonard Fournette. That's why he's ranked 6th, because I would take him over anyone ranked below him.
I would take
Now,
Cordell Patterson over Zeke. I would take Cordell Patterson over J.K. Dobbins, Elijah Mitchell, Josh Jacobs, A.J. Dillon, Clyde Edwards, Antonio Gibson, Miles Sanders,
well,
Travis
that's yeah.
Etienne. I would take him over any of those guys.
Okay. Well, then that's okay.
Yeah, like I'm still, but if I can wait, and I'm
But
not going
yeah,
to pick up a running back before Cordell. Like I'm not going to pick up one of those guys if Cordell Patterson's on the board.
would you then this is my question.
Mhm. Are you
Would
asking me
you
how early I'm going to draft Cordero Patterson? Is that what like the question is?
would you reach on Cordero Patterson? Would you take him in like cuz I think in most drafts he will go somewhere like 7th to 9th round. Would you
Right.
take him in the 6th round? Because let me just like finish quick. Because if you look at RB19s, they're going somewhere in like the first 4 rounds. If he's your RB19, you take him in the 6th round, that's kind of like a steal.
Right.
Would you reach to get him compared to where he's going because you have him ranked so high that if it's an actual RB19, it's actually pretty good value still at 6?
So Cordell, I will not pick up another running back if I am heart set on Cordell Patterson. I'm going to get Cordell Patterson at whatever ADP I think I need to reach for him. or whatever position I think I can have him fall to. I will not pick up a Zeke, Antonio Gibson, Miles
Gotcha.
Sanders, any of these guys before I pick up Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, that
So
makes sense.
I think we were just confused. You thought I was
Yes,
saying
I think it was a confusion
yeah. I'm saying
that
I have a great steal for me personally in my rankings. Cordero Patterson getting drafted all the way down there. He's my running back 19. So
I'm glad
for
we were
me,
able to sort that out.
right. So for me, I'm very comfortable waiting to get Cordero Patterson until the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th round.
Okay.
Before I'm not touching a Zeke if Cordero Patterson's on the board.
Yeah, I got you.
That's what I'm kind of trying to say. That's why I was saying I was throwing ADP in there because it makes sense in my head that if I don't have to go in the first 3 rounds and grab Cordero Patterson, I'm not going to do it because I can build a better team that way.
But if you have him ranked that high, are you at a certain point above where he's going on ADP because he's not being drafted as the RB19, obviously?
Right.
Are you like, well, I want to make sure I get this guy, so I'm going to pick a round earlier? And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because if, like I said, running back 19 is going in the top 50 picks. So if you're getting your RB19 in the 60s of picks, that's great value.
Right. I'm saying I will be drafting Cordell Patterson earlier than ADP if I feel like his ADP is in jeopardy of not making it back to me. Fair. If I feel like someone is going to snag him before, I am going to get him before I grab any of these other guys because I feel Cordell Patterson will finish 19 on the year compared to a Zeke or Antonio Gibson or any of these other guys.
Okay. So this is a throwback show, by the way. A lot of confusion, a lot of arguments.
I think you got confused in your head because I said ADP and then because I said ADP.
Because you said ADP affects your rankings, and that confused me. I don't think it affects your rankings. I think it affects like how you look at the board when you're drafting, which is what it affects me on.
Which is my rankings.
But I don't think it affects how you assemble like who's running back 19, who's running back 20, who's running back 21, who's running back 22. We don't have to argue about it anymore. We have a lot more to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's make this one quick. Okay. 24 to 25 to 36. Who's most likely to leap into the top 15? I think there's a ton of guys here that could do it. I think I would probably go with Ken Walker, who I'm pretty high on. Not like by our rankings by any means.
You are the lowest on it for our rankings.
No, I'm the highest. I am the highest on Ken Walker. I am at 28.
Sorry. I was looking at Tony Pollard. I have him.
No, it's all right.
My bad.
But like I don't have him that much higher than you have him. I just think the player, he reminds me a lot. He's a little bit smaller than JT, but he reminds me a lot of JT. Reminded me a lot of JT watching him run. I just think that he's a really good player, and I think he has the talent to pretty much dominate. I think Devin Singletary I really like a lot too. I think CEH could even do it. I think Cordero could even do it. I think all of those guys just have wild upside at this point in the draft. And I think I like this tier as far as like value, maybe even more than some of the RB2s.
Yeah, there's some interesting dart throws in the flex category for ADP. I'm with you on Kenneth Walker. I mean, Kenneth Walker could be an absolute stud this year. I could see him finishing inside top 15. I can see Cordero Patterson finishing inside top 15. I'm with you on CEH. I'm not buying all like the negative hype coming that people are saying around CEH and the Chiefs. Sorry, let me rephrase it. I'm buying some of the negative hype for the Chiefs. I'm not buying the negative hype for CEH.
Interesting.
Yep.
Well, let's get into some dart throws. We'll each take one player that we haven't covered in this top 36 that we like. Talk a little bit about them. Try to keep it brief. Just one guy that stands out that we have not mentioned, but we'll talk about him in our disputes. So I'm going to try to mention somebody that we won't cover there, and I'm going to go with Nyheim Hines. I really like Nyheim Hines this year. I think I don't have him that much higher than a lot of us do, but I could see him moving up my boards. I'm taking him sometimes in mocks ahead of James Robinson. I think Nyheim Hines is going to have a huge role this year. Just watching the Colts, watching what he can do. Heard that there's some plans for him working out of the slot as well. I think he's going to be a guy that he started the first preseason game, which I liked a lot as well. Like he was in there with the starters and then came out with the starters. So it seems like if JT goes down, he is the handcuff for a Colts offense that likes to run the ball. Plus, crazy pass catching upside. I think he could catch 60 passes this year. So I think I really like Nyheim Hines.
That's not a terrible one.
I'll take that compliment. That's not a terrible one.
I mean, he was very in. What do you have, like a 14% target
No,
share last year? Like
I mean,
no, that was a good thing. I think it was
yeah.
I think it led all running backs last year. It wasn't a dig
And
at Naheem Hines. I just
no,
think he relies on the passing game volume, and Colts could be up a lot this year. Sorry, they could be into some good games this year. They might have to pass a little bit more than they did last year. I like it. I'm kind of leaning on James Cook though as a dart throw for me. I'm not really high on. I'm buying the hype on James Cook a little bit as of right now. Still have him ranked 38, but 10 spots higher than you, 5 spots higher than Kenny. I like him. James Cook isn't that. I think he could be the workhorse, 3 down back that the Bills are kind of looking for. Devin Singletary isn't it? They were kind of looking for people throughout the season or throughout the offseason to try to, come into the organization, and they got James Cook. And I think James Cook could be that all-purpose 3 down back, which would just make them even more explosive as a team when the defense won't be able to like game plan and be like, oh, Devin Singletary's coming in, it's going to be a pass play, or it's going to be easier for the offense to trick the defense now. And I think that's why I'm so high on him.
He's one of the more confusing players to me. I am obviously the lowest on him. I'm just confused. Like, I don't know.
Happens.
I think James Cook could be good, but Devin Singletary had a good finish to the year. He didn't play in the first preseason game. They held him out. And James Cook came out after Zach Moss. I might be reading too much into that. I think that Devin Singletary is going to get the first chance to fail. In the first chance at the job. I think James Cook, I look at him as more of a guy I think the upside for him is, and this might be comparing him to some good running backs, but not in the best way, is a guy like a rookie year Swift, rookie year Cam Akers, even a little bit of rookie year JT, where I don't think he's going to really do much in the first half of the year at all. I think it's that second half of the year that he could bring some value in as they kind of look towards the rookie a little bit more. But also, you're drafting him running back 38. It's a little bit less of an investment too. So
right.
I think if these are all dart throws, like the title says.
I mean, a little food for thought here. If you do go with Condo's, James Conner, who will get you to week 13, and then you get James Cook and put James Cook in, which you just said, rookies do have a good back half of the year. I think that would be the perfect little blend here of you.
I said that I think that's his best bet. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying, like, if James Cook comes out a little slow, they give the ball to Devin Singletary in the beginning, but he comes on and proves that he is the best back, which I think watching him out there, it's not hard to see that he is the most talented guy in the backfield. For me, I think it's all about trying to figure out, how if you construct your team a certain way, it's always nice to have a guy that has late season upside versus late season floor.
I think you'll be able to pick James Cook up in the middle of the season is going to be my bet. I think he's going to be dropped after the first few weeks because he's not going to do much.
Mhm.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But let's get into some rank disputes. I'm going to start with a glaring one. You might have seen no Kareem Hunt on our rankings. He's actually running back 25 for me, right outside of RB2 territory. A top flex play for me, I think. We couldn't put him in our ranks because Cody did not have him ranked.
Correct.
I don't know if it was a mistake or if it was on purpose, but let's hear.
It was very purposeful. I'm not a Kareem Hunt believer right now.
Okay. What, do you have a reason?
Yeah, I have multiple, and I would be more than happy to tell everyone and enlighten everyone on to why they're wrong for, having them so high in Deer. Since we're going off last year's rankings, Kareem Hunt was running back 48 last year.
You're going off.
Hold on. I'm just building the circle here. Okay, let me construct my circle before you start throwing holes at my house. Problem number 2 that I see: Kareem Hunt doesn't want to play there anymore.
I think that's awesome.
No, it's not awesome because they will give him the ball and he will not want to do anything with it. He will.
I don't know that.
No.
You think he's gonna strike? You think he's gonna do you think he's gonna protest? You think he's just gonna get the ball, sit on the field?
No, I mean, I think that the Browns will want to run the ball. This is how they are. So Kareem Hunt will know, they want to give me the rock. They want to bang up my body. They want to make me worth less. So he will do what multiple running backs have done before. Once they've hit that, they're approaching their plateau before they start to descend down, and they will hold out for money. We've seen a lot of guys do this, and I think openly coming out and saying, I don't want to play for this team anymore, get me out of this team. He has 1 year left on his deal. I don't think he's going to risk it. So for me, he's a guy I'm staying as far away from as possible. I'm not ranking him because if he's on the Browns, I don't think he is. I think he's waiver wire material. Like, you can pick him up middle of the season if you want to. If he's on the Browns. And if he goes to another team, I'll change my rankings depending on what team he goes to. Houston, Kansas City would be awesome again. That'd be funny. A little full circle. But for me, I just don't see him going out there and putting himself on the line, because we've seen so many running backs not put themselves on the line when there's a contract dispute, when they don't want to play for a team anymore. We've seen a lot of guys hold out, and they have D'Ernest Johnson. Like, if Kareem Hunt wants to go out there and not try, not participate, not be part of this team, D'Ernest Johnson's a beast. We saw it last year. D'Ernest Johnson's fantastic. And they know that D'Ernest Johnson's fantastic. So for me, Kareem Hunt not going to be drafted.
Not going to be drafted. Considered.
No.
Well, that's nuts. Yeah, Kareem Hunt is going to. I mean, I think you mentioned that he finished as running back 49 last year. He
48.
did miss
48.
It's 49. As at least what I'm looking at now. But it's probably just different scoring.
Yeah.
He missed like half the season, and in the first 6 weeks when he played, he was a top 12 running back in fantasy. So, and that is as the backup to Nick Chubb, which is what he would be this year if he doesn't get traded. If he does get traded, I think we would all say that the ceiling for Kareem Hunt is like a top 12 running back. I think that's very much in the possibility, especially because last year as a backup, when he was healthy, he was a top 12 running back.
I'm
You're
not
still
disputing. I'm not disputing the talent.
you're saying the contract,
I'm saying that the contract. I'm saying that
and
we've
you think he's
seen.
gonna hold out.
He's 27 years old.
Okay.
How many? It just gets downhill after. I mean, we
I don't
don't
know that
see.
that's true.
Um,
Derrick Henry finished top 10 in rushing last year, played half the season, and he was 27.
right.
We still have like what I think what's his McCaffrey is 27. Is he 26? Are you going to catch me on a technicality? I think he might be 26 going on 27. Yes, he is 26.
Christian
Dang
McCaffrey's
it.
26.
We got Dalvin Cook who's getting taken in the top 10, that's 27. Or top 5, top 6, excuse me, that's 27. We got Austin Eckler who's getting taken early, that's 27.
Right. I think you're missing.
that's
I think you might be purposely missing what I'm saying. So I'll say it again. I'm saying he's 27 years old on the last year of his deal,
okay.
which means the next contract he gets will more than likely be the last contract he gets for an NFL team. Unless it's a 1-year deal, he might get another one after that to play to be, get a 3-year deal after that. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that I don't think that at 27 years old, touching the ball 300 times, running into the, defensive line 300 times a season, not including practice, not including off season, that takes a toll on you. This is his 5th, 6th year into the league. I think he's holding out for the contract. And he also doesn't want to play for the Browns, which is a team he's on right now.
Well, he only doesn't want to play for the Browns because they're not giving him a new contract, is the argument.
And the Browns don't want to give him a new contract.
Will the Browns there's still time for that to solve itself. And I think like having him not ranked because of that, I think is pretty wild. And then to have like Alvin Kamara, the highest out of all of us, like I think that there are sizable concerns with both of those guys. But like there's plenty of time for Kareem Hunt's situation to get resolved. And I don't know that he's going to lose all of his like money and like hold out for that. He's holding in, I think, right now. Where he's showing up, just not participating in drills. I think there's a chance that he gets traded. He's good enough to get traded. And there is a chance that he stays, gets a contract, and is a top 20 running back next year. I guess my argument isn't necessarily that he's going to be like the best. It's that you should probably draft him if he's falling to you. And I think he does fall because he's a backup. But as we've seen, that doesn't really hurt his productivity. Do you have any disputes with me?
I mean, I think I kind of aired it out with the.
We have a OG back in the
Niner 49.
We're welcoming a lot of OGs back into the chat over the last few episodes.
I mean, Niner 49, you're, welcome back.
I don't know that Nick Chubb is terrible. That's a strong take. That's a bold take.
That's a really bold take. I like bold takes.
Are we talking like fantasy or are we talking like real life? I think like fantasy, if you're like in a PPR league, you can make the argument that he's not the best. But anyway, back to the topic at hand.
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of aired out the James Conner disagreement we had. That one I think was just outlandish.
Where do we have him? I mean, I only have 2 spots ahead of you.
Yeah, I mean, astronomical. But I think the problem though is that James Conner keeps falling for me. Like every time I try to like think about my rankings, I keep thinking of people behind him who I'd like. Like I think I want David Montgomery above him.
Interesting.
Saquon Barkley is going to be above him eventually.
He's above him for me.
Yeah. So I mean, he's just going to keep going down for me. And looking at his injury history, looking that I won't be able to use him in my playoffs.
I think we've covered.
5 years in a row.
But
5 out of 5, 100% of the seasons that he's played.
We're just saying the same thing at this point.
Right.
We're saying the same thing over and over. We don't have to talk about James Conner anymore.
Yeah. But that's just that's just the only one.
I got you. Okay.
I mean,
Only other one I had
if
was
I'm not ranking Kareem Hunt, that's fine. If you want to draft James Conner, that's fine.
yeah.
I think at the end of the day, one
Everybody's
of
gonna
us,
have their own rankings.
yeah, one of us will be right and one of us will be wrong on each of these topics. And hopefully, personally, I hope I'm right on both of them. And Kondo, I know you hopefully think that you're right on both of them. So I mean, it's not.
If I draft them, if I don't, then
Yeah.
I guess
Which,
it's what it is.
yeah, could be.
Only other one that I had was Brees Hall.
Where
Both
did I have
you
Brees Hall?
and Kinney have Brees Hall as
Oh yeah, we have
18th
him at
ranked
18th.
running back.
Yeah.
I am
We've
at
had him.
27. I just don't understand the Brees Hall hype.
I'll
Not that
give-
I
yeah.
like hate him. I
Right.
just don't understand it.
Yeah, I didn't say you hate him. I don't think you're a Brees Hall hater. I think
I am a Jets hater. I would say that.
you are definitely a Jets hater, and that's abundantly clear.
But I'm proud of that.
Brees Hall has a very tough first half of the year. Undisputable, he will have a very tough first half of the year. But I think it gets a little bit easier. I mean, besides week 14 in Buffalo, I'm not seeing. Besides playing Buffalo twice after week 8, I am not worried about. I mean, New England is week 8, but
He's got Tampa
your-
Bay in week 17.
I thought
I'm
it's-
not
I
worried.
thought- wait, I thought it was the Seahawks week 17. Oh, my.
Are you on the
blind?
wrong guy?
I'm on Brees Hall.
Maybe it's showing me last year. Who knows?
It
Anyway,
could be last year because this one
I'm
it
not
says
too
week
worried
17.
about
He's
it.
playing the Seahawks week 17.
yeah, it might be
And
showing me
I-
the Jets last
yeah.
year. It doesn't matter. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm not a big like schedule guy at this point in the year. But
I mean, just for me, that's kind of why I'm high on him. I think he's going to have a rough first part of the year. And depending on how your team is kind of shaped, you might want to stay away from him. So I don't hate your 27th ranked. I mean, if I could have 2 other running backs ahead of Brees Hall, I would love that. Have Brees Hall as my third option, maybe a flex. I think that's ideal. But the second half of the year, I think it's much easier for the Jags. I think Trevor Lawrence takes a step forward, so I think the pass game is what the defenses will kind of focus on. I think Brees Hall just kind of slips in, gets you, 15 points a game, and I'm going to be a very happy camper if that happens.
I just don't know, like, a little bit off on what 949 is saying here. I don't know that he's I'm all out on Brees Hall, but I don't think I'll get him in any drafts, I will say.
949 with some hot takes.
Michael Carter, I don't know that he's a league winner, but I do think he's going to play a role. I think that he's a player that they spent high draft capital on when they take him like 3rd round last year. They took Brees Hall in 2nd. So I think there's still going to be a sizable Michael Carter impact here, especially on 3rd downs. A lot of people play in half PPR or PPR leagues. I think those 3rd downs are pretty big. Do we think the Jets are going to be like an awesome team where Brees Hall is going to score a ton of points? Do we think that the Jets have an awesome offensive line? They just lost Mekhi Becton. They did bring in Dwayne Brown, but do we think that their offensive line is going to be awesome? They don't have Zach Wilson. Is he going to be back at the start of the season? Probably not. When he's back, is he going to be fully healthy? When he's back, is he going to be good? There's a lot of question marks around the Jets. And how he's going to be used also. Like, we expect him to be a 1st and 2nd down guy. Is he going to be the 3rd down guy? I'm worried. There's a lot of concerns. There's a lot of concerns for me. That is scary about the ADP. Rookie running backs normally turn out somewhat good. I guess it's a little hit or miss, but there's some concerns that I have with Brees Hall.
Yeah. Most rookie running backs kind of beat their ADP. That's just kind of why I'm also a little bit higher on them. They have a really tough schedule in the first half, but besides that, I'm all in. Michael Carter had 183 total touches last year, and he got you 154.5 fantasy points. So I'm not a Michael Carter hater. I'm just a Michael Carter fact checker here, and I think that the fact he didn't have 200 touches last year does not. I think it kind of says a little bit about how they're using him. And I think to go out and draft a running back literally the next year after you draft this one, Michael Carter isn't exactly he's not worrying me. He shouldn't worry you guys. He should
I
look at him like
disagree with that. I don't think he should be. I'm not going to go and say he's a league winner, but I think he should worry you as far as Brees Hall is concerned. I don't think he should worry you from the sense of like Michael Carter's going to take over the job, but I think he should worry you from the standpoint of he's going to take touches away from Brees Hall.
you don't have Michael Carter ranked.
I don't have Michael Carter ranked,
which is quite weird since you are quite adamant.
No, I'm not adamant. I'm not adamant on the Jets. I think that's my thing. I don't believe in the Jets because, as we've talked about, I'm a Jets hater. They're gonna stink because I don't like them. As a fan, there are just some teams that you like don't like for really no reason, and it's like Jets, Cowboys. I think there's like a pretty good group of people there who are in that boat. Jaguars, really anybody in our division. And like that's really it for me, I would say. And I think I'm not like being serious. There are a lot of concerns with the Jets. I don't think that either of these guys have upside. I'm not drafting Brees Hall I'm not drafting, Michael Carter because I don't think there's upside there. I don't know that like Brees Hall gets hurt and he's the guy, and I don't have that much confidence in Brees Hall being the guy. Like being awesome when he plays. I think that he as a player can be, but I just don't think a Jets running back is going to be an insane value. So when Michael Carter comes in and it's a little bit split, I don't think that he's going to have upside, and I don't think that he has the upside that some later guys have in fantasy drafts. Will he finish higher than I have him ranked? I don't have him ranked in my top 55 running backs. Probably, but I don't think he has the upside to be worth drafting in my case. I think he's like JD McKissick, but he's not JD McKissick.
He is a player in the NFL. Says
he is a player in the NFL. I will highly agree with that.
Undeniably a player in the NFL. Getting paid NFL money to do NFL player things. I mean, all the power to you, Michael Carter.
I like Michael Carter as a player too.
4th rounder. I mean, it's hard to hate on a guy. You know, he was an underdog his whole life. He also got sent to the Jets. So,
yeah, that's just a tough life.
Can we see the next? I just have something to say for the next comment. He is on OnlyFans, the player of all time. So OnlyFans has their own fantasy football league that you guys can join. OnlyFans / Your Wildest Fantasy.
I don't even want to know what that would look up. I don't even want to know what that search would bring about.
But it's he is an OnlyFans player.
He's also one of the players OnlyFans all time in NFL history.
One OnlyFans, the players of OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. Going two OnlyFans in there. Wow. Yeah. It's impressive.
9-49. We have to have you on the show sometime.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, you poor thing, dude. I mean, she is
we don't need a mom.
She might be a little old for you, 9-49. Unless you were born in 1949. That could be a real thing.
I don't know that I want this conversation to keep going, so I think it's about time to end the show. That is it for us today. What do you think before we wrap up? Good old-fashioned old school show. I think we got everything that would typically be included in one of our old shows.
I think there was less arguing this time.
I don't know. I think there was a good amount.
We only really covered we had the James Conner argument, we had the Kareem Hunt argument, we had the Cordero Patterson misunderstanding.
Yeah, we had
That was kinda
misunderstanding.
that was
But I
kinda
think
it,
we
man.
checked off all the boxes of an old school show. We got an okay. We appreciate that. We
No
appreciate
disrespect,
that,
man.
Niner Money. We
Keep it
appreciate that.
classy. Keep it
Yeah.
classy.
Let's let's end with no disrespect. Um,
Love it.
that is it for us today. We will
Yeah.
be back Thursday doing our QB rankings.
Woo-hoo!
If
That
you
should
guys
be
have
really
any
peaceful. Yeah.
yes, if you guys have any questions, leave comments whenever. We will hopefully get to them. And yeah, we will be back Thursday. See y'all then.
See ya.